Hi guys, I'm Mrs. McDaniel and I'm sorry that I'm not here today. I am out of town, but I will be back with you tomorrow. I do want to welcome you to Multimedia. I know as sixth graders, you guys don't always get to pick what classes you're in, and they just show up on your schedule, but I am glad to have you here, and hopefully we'll do some things that are fun that you'll enjoy for this 6 weeks. So I'd like to tell you just a little bit about me. I will get to know you better as we start doing your projects, but a little bit about me. So let's get started. I grew up in Garden City, Kansas on a farm. For those of you who don't know where Garden City, Kansas is, here's the state map. And Junction City, where we live, is right here. So you'll see that red arrow that just popped up. And Garden City is all the way down in the southwest corner of the state. And it's about a 4-hour drive from Junction City. Landscape looks a whole lot different. Here in Junction City we have lots of hills and we have trees and it's very green. Out in southwest Kansas in Garden City where I grew up, it's very flat. Not a whole lot of trees. They don't get as much rain as we do, so it tends to be a lot more dry and not as green. But that is my hometown. That's where I grew up as a kid. I have been married for 29 years to my high school sweetheart. His name is Mick, and we have 2 kids, Trey, and he's 21, and Thane, who's 17. So Trey is in college, and Thane is a senior in high school. This was a picture of them a long time ago because obviously Trey and Thane are not that small if they are 21 and 17. But here is a picture of them now. They have both outgrown their dad. Their dad's in the middle, and they're actually standing on the same side that they were in the picture when they were little. I do have 3 dogs, and you'll see up in the left-hand corner, you'll see a little dog looking up at us, and that is Gracie. She's my miniature schnauzer. And she's about 13 years old, so she's getting old. She's got some memory problems, kind of like that happens to really old people. She can't remember certain things, and sometimes in the evenings she doesn't always remember who we are. So it's kind of sad, but we're taking care of her the best that she can as she's old. And then our other 2 dogs, the top one, she is Callie. Her name is Callie. And she's an English Springer Spaniel. And then her sister, because they come from the same litter, is on the bottom, and her name is Bella. And they are both hunting dogs, and they are both our pets as well. But you'll see Callie in the top picture. She is carrying a pheasant. So after my husband had went hunting and they had gotten the bird, she goes and finds the bird and brings it back to him. I've been teaching for 28 years, so a really long time. It's been all at Junction City Middle School the whole entire time, which has been really neat because I've been able to get to know a lot of families here in the community. And some of you, I might have even had your mom or dad in class. I spent my first 21 years teaching family and consumer science. I don't know if any of you have FACS on your schedule, but if you do have FACS on your schedule, that's what I did for my first 21 years of teaching. And then I switched over to multimedia 7 years ago. And so it's been a fun opportunity to switch and do something new. I still love FACS, but I also love multimedia. Okay, what we have here are some more current pictures of my family. And you'll see that the top center picture right underneath the word family, that picture is a little bit older of us. It was about 3 years ago when we went down to my cousin's house in Missouri and we got to go out on his boat. And that was really fun. The boys looked a little bit younger then, but all the other pictures are really current. And you'll see in the top left-hand corner a picture of my boys together at Thanksgiving last year. And then below that, a picture of us down in Galveston by the Gulf of Mexico. And Thane was playing baseball down there this summer, so that was really fun. And then next to that on the right hand side, you'll see Trey and Thane and I in the car. And last summer we took a trip to Indianapolis for baseball, and Trey did all the driving, and Trey is my older one there with all the hair on his face. And then the last picture on the right is from this summer, and that is Trey and Thane after they ran the Freedom Run on the 4th of July. How I spend most of my time. So let's do a little guessing game here and see if you can figure out how I spend my time. So these are some pictures of what I do with a lot of my time. And I'm hoping that my screen shot of myself isn't covering up a picture of Trey, but it might be. And I don't know if anybody can take a guess, but it looks like I spend a lot of time watching baseball. And so on the left-hand side of the screen, that is Thane. He's my youngest. He's the one that's a senior in high school. He plays for the high school Blue Jay baseball team. And if you'll notice, his primary position, he's a pitcher. And then the very bottom picture of him on that side, he's in a different uniform. He's in a red and gray and black uniform, which is the summer team that he plays with. And then Trey, who's my oldest son, who's in college, he's over on the right-hand side. He just graduated from Cloud Community College last year, and he's now attending Fort Hays. And he's also going to be playing baseball at Fort Hays, but I don't have any new pictures of him in his new uniform yet. So when I get those, I'll have to change my PowerPoint. But he does play, they both play a lot of baseball, both during their school year and all summer, and then they play into the fall as well. So really the only months off that I get from watching baseball are from about November to February. Otherwise, I'm watching baseball from March to October, but it's my favorite sport. Love to watch it. The other thing that we like to do, but we don't get to do very often, is we like to go out to the lake. And you'll notice that this picture is a little older of them. We didn't get to go out to the lake very much this summer because we were so busy with baseball, but we do love spending time out there on the water and fishing and playing, you know, with the inner tube and things like that. So really a lot of fun. Okay, let's get down to business and talk about what we're going to learn in multimedia. You're going to be with me for 6 weeks, and so let's talk about the things that you're going to be doing. We're going to talk about basic computer skills, or you're going to learn basic computer skills, but you'll never come in on a particular day and I'm going to say, hey, we're learning some basic computer skills today. Instead, what I do is I sneak those skills into the different projects that we do. And it's important to me that you know how to save files, how to organize your files, how to organize things into folders, how to be able to download and upload items, how to find your way around in different programs and different websites, and we'll be using Schoology a lot too. We'll do a graphic design project. We'll be designing a personalized license plate. It won't be a real one that you can put on your car, but it'll be a fun one that will be just about you. We'll be using PowerPoint for that when we design your license plate. If we have extra time in my class, I'll get you out to Google SketchUp and you'll be able to do some designing in there as well. We'll work on animation and we'll use coding with that, as well as we'll also do coding in a basic game design project. We'll do both of those in the program or in a website called Scratch. And some of you might have worked with Scratch when you were in elementary school, which will give you a little bit of a head start ahead of the kids who have never worked in Scratch. But no fears for anybody, because we will make sure that everybody knows what they are doing when we work in those projects. If we have time, we'll go out and we will work with a program called Kodu, but once again, that's only if we have some extra time. Most used skills in multimedia. In multimedia, there are two main things that we really use a lot. The first one is creativity. And it is super important that you grab and use those creative skills that you might have. Some of you might be thinking, hey, I'm not very creative at all, and I struggle with that. Well, what I always tell my students is, I want you to think back to when you were a kid, back to when you were maybe 4 or 5, and think about a time or the times that you played by yourself with your toys. When you did that, you came up with imaginary games or imaginary situations that you were playing with your toys and doing all these, creative and imaginary things. That is your creativity. It may have been a while since you've used it, so we're going to have to reach inside you, find it, dust it off, and we're going to get to business and use that creativity on your projects. And the second thing that we use most in my class is problem solving. Super important that you can go into what you're working on, and if you run into an issue, that you can try to problem solve your way back out of it. Especially important when we get into coding, when we're doing our animation, or when we're doing our game design, because you're going to need to know how to solve those problems, how to make your code work, because code typically doesn't work perfectly the first time you do it. So you have to be willing to go back and redo and fix and test it all over again. Sometimes as a student, you can fall behind in multimedia. It could be because your family took you out of school to go on vacation, or maybe you had a family emergency that you guys had to leave school for. Maybe you're sick. Whatever the reason might be that you get behind in multimedia, there are ways that I kind of have built in for you to stay caught up. One of those ways is that most projects that you work on in my class can be worked on at home if you have internet access. I do most of my things through Schoology, and our 2 coding projects are through Scratch. All 3 of those do require internet access, but if you have internet at home, then you should be able to work on anything that you need to stay caught up. You could also work with me before or after school by appointment. What I mean by appointment, I don't really mean that it's like you're going to a doctor's office and you make an appointment, but instead, make sure that you let me know ahead of time when you want to come in and do some work, because I may be in a meeting, or I may have something going on where I'm not going to be in my classroom. Maybe I have to go help another teacher. So if you come up to me and say, hey, Mrs. McDaniel, I'm feeling a little behind. Can I come in and catch up on Wednesday after school? And I'll say, ooh, you know what? Wednesday after school I have a meeting, but Thursday after school would be great. Can you see if your parents can come pick you up after school that day? And then you go home and ask your parents. So just make sure you set it up with me in advance. That way I know I can be here to help you out. Another way to stay caught up is if you have free time in other classes, you could work with the permission of that teacher. You do really need to be careful when you're working on my projects and other people's classes, because we're going to be working with graphic design, and we're working with animation, and working with game design, and we're doing coding, and you're out for different things also looking for pictures. And a lot of that, when a teacher walks by your computer, may look like you're just playing around in class on your computer. So please let your teacher know ahead of time. Say, hey, I'm done with today's work. Would it be okay if I worked on my project for multimedia? Explain what the project is that you're working on real quick to them, and more than likely they will let you try to get caught up in my class. Flipping out in multimedia. Sounds weird? Sounds like maybe a bad thing? But actually it can be a really good thing. And so let me tell you a little bit about what flipping out in multimedia means. So I use something I call a modified flipped classroom design. What that means is that with a lot of the projects that we do, or websites or programs that we use, I will have video tutorials for you to work with as you're learning about what we're doing with that particular project. And it's a lot easier than if I stand up in front of class and I say, hey, I need you to click here and then click there and drop that down and do this and do that. And pretty soon, if I'm telling everybody what to do, I've got a whole bunch of students who are lost, who are off task, who can't find what they need to find, and everybody's hand goes up in the air, and then I have to spend a bunch of time catching people up. Where instead, if I give you a video to watch, then everybody can be working at their own pace, and we don't have to have the whole class stop if somebody has a question, or if somebody gets behind, or if somebody doesn't understand something. I can go help that one person and everybody else can continue on with their video. It actually works out really, really great. Some of the videos I make and some of the videos are put out by the websites or programs that we use. And so you'll find kind of a combination of those as you're working in my class. A lot of our projects, like I said, will be directed by video tutorials. So you will need headphones for those starting pretty much right away. So I would say bring your headphones within the next few days. If you have earbuds, that would be great. The one thing that these videos, again, let me do is they give me more time to help students rather than always having to stand up in class and do direct instruction telling you what to click on and what to click on and what to click on. So I'd much rather be out there working with you individually than standing up in front of the room telling people where to click. So that's what I mean by flipping out multimedia. We flip the classroom around a little bit, meaning that the teaching happens through sometimes some videos, and then I can be out actually working with you one-on-one if I need to. Sometimes in multimedia we have to have different accounts for programs or websites that we work in. And so what I need you to know about that is that for one thing, we will be using Schoology on almost a daily basis in our class, actually on a daily basis, every single day in my class. It's my way of communicating with you, for you to turn in assignments, projects, sharing files with me. Also, it's how I share your files with you. You'll have your own account in Schoology. Most of you have probably already been in Schoology in another class, and you'll find that I have a Schoology classroom set up inside of your Schoology account as well, and your account has been set up by the district. If you haven't ever been in Schoology yet this year, I will help you out once we log into that. By the way, because I use Schoology, I am almost a paper-free classroom. So we do everything on the computer. I give you everything on the computer, you give me everything back on the computer. There are a few times during class that you'll get paper from me, but most of the time it's going to be done on the computer. Any other programs or websites that we might use, such as Scratch, that we're going to have to create a login information for, I will create those logins for you because I have a classroom account. So basically I create the classroom account, and then you will create your student account inside of my classroom account, and that way it keeps your information private. In multimedia, you're going to need some different things on a daily basis. So let's talk about the things that you're going to need. You're going to need a writing utensil and your agenda each and every day. One of the class and school expectations is that you write down what your current work is in your agenda. So you're going to need a writing utensil for that. You're going to need your school laptop every day. And if you look at the tables in front of you, you'll notice that I already have laptops out at the tables, but it also comes in super handy if you have your own laptop too. There will be times that you're going to work on both your laptop and my laptop at the same time. You'll run two computers at once. You do need headphones for my class, and so if you have your own earbuds, please bring those. Bring them every day with you. If you do not have earbuds, one thing that we really don't want you to bring is the expensive noise canceling headphones. It's kind of a safety issue, plus they're really expensive, and you don't want anything to happen to those. And last, if you don't have either of the two or can't get headphones, I do have a couple of old school headphones like those in my room that you're more than welcome to borrow to work with. All right, now on to the fun stuff, rules in multimedia. So here we go. All right, first rule, respect yourself and others. Make sure you're using school-appropriate language, no bullying, put-downs, making fun of others, and I do expect you to listen to the speaker. Most of the time, that speaker is me. There will be occasions like today when I am not here and there is a sub in the room, and so I do expect you to listen to them as well. But there also might be times where you guys are actually the speaker. There are times that students come up with new fun ways of doing things for the projects in my class. And if it's something that I've never seen before, I might send you up to my computer so that you can show the whole room how you did what you did on your project so that they can learn from you as well. So anytime we have somebody speaking in the room, whether it's you or another adult, we need to make sure that we are being respectful. All right, I also expect you to respect all things. First of all, don't take other people's things. Leave their stuff alone. If it's not yours, don't mess with it. I also need you to take care of class equipment. You'll see on the tables that we have computers and mice. If you've been touching them, clicking them, playing with them, hands off while we're watching this video. Also, anytime you're working with my equipment, please make sure you're taking care of it. Make sure that you're keeping your hands clean. Make sure that you are not picking at the keys on the keyboard or doing anything that you shouldn't be doing otherwise. So make sure that you're always taking care of the things that we are working with. Also, I need you to follow teacher instructions for computer use, the programs and websites that we're using, and I need you to be a positive digital citizen. What that means is I need you to be on your best behavior when you're out on websites or in the programs that we're using, and make sure that you're creating things that are appropriate and good for all people to see and to watch, because your projects will be posted so that your entire class and your classmates can see those, and so make sure that what you are doing is appropriate. Also, there is no use of gaming, internet sites such as YouTube, or music without my permission in class. I need you to stay on task. We have lots of things always to get done, and so one thing that I go by is it says to see the USD 475 AUP. AUP is the acceptable use policy that we have in our district, and basically what that means is that anything that the teacher says that you need to be doing on the computer is what you need to be doing. If you're off doing something else that's not related to your education, then you shouldn't be doing it, and you could lose computer privileges because of that. So make sure you are staying on task and being that positive digital citizen that you need to be. Now, funny thing that I mentioned gaming on there, yes, we are going to create a game using Scratch and coding, but that's different than going out to other websites where you're off task and playing games. And also funny that I mentioned YouTube, because some of our videos that we use for our tutorials are on YouTube, but know that I understand the difference between what my videos are on YouTube for you and what videos you're watching and listening to on YouTube that are also getting you off task. So make sure that you are doing the best things to keep yourself on task and out of trouble. And last, make sure you're prepared. Have the supplies that you need with you every day and be ready to work every day. So those supplies, again, you need to have a writing utensil, you need an agenda, you need your student laptop, and you need some sort of headphones each and every day to be successful in my room. So make sure that you have those things with you all the time. All right, just a few more rules here for multimedia, so let's finish these up. Be on time. Be seated, ready, and quiet when it's time for class to start. You know they sweep the hallways, so make sure that you're getting here on time before that door gets locked. When you're here, come in, get seated, get ready, get your computer open and logged in, and make sure you're quiet so that when we're starting, you're ready to go. Bottled water. I am totally fine with you having bottled water in my class. It's actually really great because it keeps you from having to make trips out to the water fountain. But I do ask that when you bring your bottled water in, that you don't keep it up on the table with the electronics, that instead you keep it on the floor down by your feet. The other thing that I ask is that you don't have food items that you are eating in class. It makes your hands possibly sticky or greasy. It makes your hands dirty. It leaves crumbs. Crumbs get in your keyboard. Your mice or your touchpad gets sticky and dirty. It's just a gross situation all the way around. So please do not bring food items to class. Next, do your own work. Copying is not acceptable. Never has been, never will be. And in fact, in my class, since we do all of this creative work on our projects, it is honestly super hard to copy off of somebody else. But I go ahead and I leave this rule in there just in case somebody decides that they're going to try to copy off of someone else. All right. Anytime that your assignment or project is complete for the hour and you have free time, you need to either be reading a library book or doing some sort of enrichment work that I have given you. I always have different websites or different programs that I can send you out to look at or to play around with. And I might say, hey, go check out this website and let me know what you think of it. And so make sure that you're either reading, maybe even doing other homework for other classes once you're done with my work, and or make sure you ask me if there's anything else that I have that maybe you could do. Next, no fidget spinners or other toys unless it is written into your educational plan. So make sure that anything that is going to distract you gets left in your locker, left in your pocket, left at home. It is better for you and it keeps you on task. Unless you have a personal educational plan that requires you to have something like that, there is absolutely no reason for us to have it in the classroom. Cell phones, we know that cell phones are supposed to be kept in our locker unless you've been told we're doing an activity with them. As of right now, I don't have any current activities that 6th graders need cell phones for. If something comes up and we need a cell phone, I will let you know ahead of time so that you guys can clear it, or that I can clear it with your 6th grade core teachers, and so that you can bring it to my class only but no other classes. But as of right now, no reasons to have cell phones in class. And last, you are not dismissed until I tell you to. Just because our schedule on the wall says it's time to go doesn't mean we can necessarily just run out of here. We need to make sure that everybody is saved. We need to make sure that everybody's shut down their computers. We need to make sure that everybody is packed up and ready. And one of the things that I need you to know is that you need to stay in your seat until it's time to go. I do not have my students line up at the door, so make sure you stay seated, and then you'll be excused. Okay, let's talk about how do you get your grades in multimedia. So, tests, quizzes, and projects are worth 80%. You've probably figured that out from the first 6 weeks in some of your other classes, that there's a category that tests, quizzes, and projects fit into, and that takes 80% of your grade. Your coursework, so your daily work, your homework, which I don't really give homework, I give in-class daily type work, that falls into the 20% category, which is totally different than your projects. It might be a daily learning log or a weekly learning log that we're doing, or it might be a tutorial log in order to help you learn about the particular program, such as Scratch, that you're going to be working with. So coursework is worth 20% of your grade. You will spend the majority of your time in my class working in that 80% category because most of what we do is projects. Make sure you're keeping up with what we're working on in Schoology. I will have everything posted in Schoology that you need. I will have directions. I will have any worksheets. I will have any project guides, and I will also have in there ways for you to upload finished homework and or projects to me in Schoology. So make sure you're keeping track of your Schoology and what is in there for my class. Last, make sure that you are working on, make sure that you write what you're working on in your planner. Write down the due date, write down what's happening that day in class. If you look on my backboard, you will see that there is some blue construction paper back there and some red construction paper. The red construction paper is 6th grade. That is what you guys are doing. And so it is up at the back of the room. The top piece of paper is my essential question. That's just kind of the overall idea of what we're going to be doing for the next several days. The bottom sheet is actually going to tell you what we're currently working on and the due date for that. And when you look up there to see that, the due date and what we're currently working on would be what you would write in your agenda each day. Okay, this slide is going to be a challenge. I want to take you on a quick multimedia tour of my classroom. But since I'm not here to walk around in the classroom, you're going to have to be really good listeners and look around the room as I describe what I'm talking about. So let's get started. Getting handouts. Tomorrow, when I'm back, I will have a black cart sitting outside my door, and I'll have the parent letters for you sitting out there on that black cart. Anytime my black cart is sitting outside my door when you're coming into class, and if there's papers on it, that means there's something that you're going to need to pick up. So you'll want to make sure anytime it's out there that you pick up papers on the way in. I know I said I'm pretty much a paperless class, but there will be a few times that you do have to pick up papers. So those will be on the cart when we need them. Graded work. Your graded work is always going to show up in Schoology. So you're going to turn it in to me in Schoology, and then I'm going to grade it in Schoology. So you can always go into Schoology and check that assignment to make sure it's submitted. And then you can go in and also look and see what the grade for it was. You can also go to Skyward and look and see what your overall grade is in my class. But if you want to know why you missed certain points on a certain assignment or project, then you'll need to go to Schoology and you'll need to go back in and look at the rubric where I graded you, and or click into the project and I might have made notes inside the project for you. So you can always go back to Schoology to see where you lost specific points. Okay, now if you look up at the front of the room where my desk is, where my teacher desk is, things that are on my desk that you can have access to. So I have a stapler and I have tape on my desk, which you can have access to. I also have a pencil holder on my desk, so if your pencil got lost on the way to class and you need to write in your agenda, you may get a pencil out of my pencil holder to use. I also have a box of Kleenex up here that you are welcome to get Kleenex from. Pretty much everything else that's on my desk is off limits, and that belongs to me, and that's things that I need for my daily teaching, so those things need to be left alone. All right, next place I need you to look. On the side of the room where the door is, I have a countertop over there. On that countertop, you will also see over there, you're going to see that there's a box of Kleenex over there. You're going to see that there's another pencil holder over there. There's more tape. There's another stapler over there. There's even an electric pencil sharpener and a 3-hole punch in case there's anything for another class that you needed to use a 3-hole punch for. You'd be welcome to use that as well. So those are things that you would find on that side counter over there. Okay, up at the front of my room, to the right of the board that you're looking at for this PowerPoint, I have a closet, and the door's probably going to be shut on that closet. But that closet, I typically don't use it with my 6th graders, but I do use it with my 7th and 8th graders. What I do is that is kind of our recording studio. In 7th and 8th grade, they do some different audio and video. And in there, I have a table and a couple of chairs, and I have a microphone and kind of a soundproof box in there to help them with their recordings. So that's kind of our recording studio. Nothing special, but not anything I typically use with 6th grade. I've had a couple of 6th graders go in there to record sound effects for their scratch projects, but other than that, usually 6th grade doesn't use that closet at the front right of the room. And last, we have a sign-out table over by the door. Most teachers have a sign-out table in their classroom, and I have one as well. So on the sign-out table, you'll see that there's another box of Kleenex over there. You're going to see that there's a clipboard where you're going to sign in and sign out. You will also see that I have lotion on there in case when you get back from the bathroom and you've washed your hands and your hands get dry, you can use lotion. I also have hand sanitizer. I think I said a box of Kleenex over there. There's another box of Kleenex over there. And then the passes are hanging up on the wall. And on my passes, they have a clip on them. And so instead of having a pass that you put over your head like some teachers do, or some teachers just have a pass that you carry, my passes, I would prefer that you clip it to your shirt, and that way it doesn't get laid down and forgotten in the bathroom. It doesn't get put on the dirty floor in the bathroom. It doesn't get put on the sink where it's going to get all wet. And it stays less germy, because you're not going to need to touch it until after you get your hands washed when you're coming back to class. So make sure you clip that pass to your shirt when you're getting ready to go out to the bathroom. You always do have to ask before you go to the bathroom or go get a drink, so that way I can approve and know that you are going to be leaving the room. All right, things for you to think about as you leave multimedia today. You will be getting a parent letter from me tomorrow. You're going to need to get that signed, but I'll talk more about that tomorrow. Next here is a picture of the part of the parent letter that you're going to get signed, but I will not give that out to you until I get back tomorrow. The other thing I need you to think about is a seating chart. And I know that you guys are all probably moaning and groaning because I'm going to have a seating chart, but I do have to have a way to start learning your names and taking attendance easily. So one way to do that for me is to have a seating chart. One thing that I do with students with the seating chart is I let them have first choice of where they sit. But here's my rule on where you sit. You get first choice only. You do not get any other choice, just one choice. So you have to make a wise choice. Choose somebody that you are going to be successful by. Do not choose somebody that you're going to get distracted by, somebody that you're going to mess with and end up getting into trouble. Because if you get distracted, if you get off task too much, if you talk too much, if you mess around too much, and it's not going to take much for me to make that decision. But if that happens to you, you only had one choice and you were supposed to make it a good, positive choice. All other choices belong to me, which means I can move you anywhere else in the room that I need to move you to help you be successful. There will be no questions. There will be no begging. Oh, please, 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 Mrs. McDaniel, I promise I'll be better. You had that first choice to prove that you could do what you needed to do. And if you couldn't do that, if you can't be successful, if you're bothering others or you're off task, then you're going to have a new permanent seat. So keep in mind tomorrow when you come in that I'm going to need you to choose wisely of where you sit. Okay, lights went out on me at the end of that last slide, and so I guess that means that we must be almost done with today. So I want to tell you that I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. I want you to have a great rest of your day today. And remember, when you're coming in tomorrow, I will have a parent letter for you, and you need to be thinking carefully about who you want to sit by so that you can have lots and lots of successful days in multimedia. All right, see you tomorrow.